Hey guys, hope you're doing well. So this is episode 29 of the Rugby Recap. You have myself, Rugby Itch, as well as the Kiwi lads. First of all, how are you doing?
It's been a little while, hasn't it, Tim? It's been almost over a month since the last
Yes.
episode. I've been all right. Been working flat out, of course, but sevens, eh? We're back in the swing of things. We've got rugby happening with the URC currently, and now the Sevens circuit is underway. I'm excited. I'm bright red. I think I got sunburnt today, but it's going to be heated in Dubai, that is for sure, when these 12 sides make their way out onto the field.
No, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it does feel crazy we're doing this, by the way. It's been a month past since our last pod, but no, really excited, like you said, for the Dubai Sevens, the first one out of the bunch in terms of the series itself. Again, it's kind of a revamped series in the way where they kind of change a lot of things. In terms of, I guess, the locations, in terms of how the groups are done now, in terms of the teams who face each other now. But hey, overall, pretty excited overall. And again, Dubai, the first one, like you said, very hot conditions. And again, like I mentioned before, with the pools, there's only 3 pools this time rather than the 4. But overall, I mean, there's some pretty big pool. I mean, there's some pretty difficult pools actually now that it's kind of a bit more condensed in that way. I mean, what's your take on that?
I'm still a little bit sad for the teams that miss out by them cutting it down to 12 rather than the 16. Definitely with some of the performances we saw in the Oceania Sevens, for instance, with Papua New Guinea. They look like they could be future contender. You've got the likes of Germany who are missing out. Even some big names such as Kenya not even taking part in the Sevens series, which is a massive shame because you know how much they love their Sevens and how much experience as well as just passion their crowd brings to the Sevens circuit as well. So I'm a little bit sad about that. Of course, with the teams that we've got, like you said, some brilliant pulls, some very tough ones. That third place spot in the groups is going to be absolutely crucial. And points differential, I think, is going to come into it quite drastically. So you don't want any runaway games throughout your pool stages.
I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at the pools once more. And then with Pool A, just to remind you guys, we have Canada, New Zealand, Samoa, and South Africa in Pool A. In Pool B, we have Argentina, Australia, Ireland, and Spain. And in Pool C, we have Fiji, France, Great Britain, and the United States. So, yeah, it's pretty action-packed in terms of all those groups. I guess we'll just go by each group. Just that's kind of the way we'll go about this. So in terms of Pool A, what's your kind of take on, I guess, all the teams there? So just to remind you, it's Canada, New Zealand, Samoa, South Africa. So what's your just I guess rough assessment or I guess prediction of what you think could come out of this group?
Well, we know New Zealand and Samoa have played recently in the Oceania Sevens. They actually played each other in a very hard-fought match for the final. I believe it went to golden point time. New Zealand managing to get themselves the victory in the end. But you've got 2 sides there who have got recent game time. You've got South Africa, who have gone with a very strong squad, although a few players missing out, as I'm sure we'll mention a bit later on. And then you kind of got the dark horse of the group, Canada, who haven't really done anything wrong, if that makes sense. Like, they've always been solid enough. Yes, they get defeated by some of the top sides, but they also have caused some upsets to those top contenders. And as soon as they cause an upset in this group, if they're able to, that hurts that team badly. Because, of course, you want to be in that top 2. You've got a chance of going through in third place. But if Canada can keep it close, you know, who knows what can happen. But I think the real contenders at the moment are those 3, New Zealand, Samoa, South Africa. It's just whether or not the team that finishes in third has defeats that are suffered bigger than some of the sides in the other groups who finish in third place as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, it's going to be really fascinating because, like you said, you know, a team can finish third and still qualify through to the knockout stage. So it's very fascinating. But again, you have to remember that it's not just from your own pool that you have to be worried about. It's also the other pools because, again, this is where it comes down towards only 2 out of the 3 third place teams advance to the next round. So again, it's going to come down towards points difference a lot. Well, most of the time it's going to come down towards points difference, or maybe just, you know, maybe they have enough points at the end of the day. But, you know, it's going to be really tight to see who kind of wins those games. And with these pools that we have, particularly Pool A, I mean, you have New Zealand, Samoa, South Africa, and Canada. That's like that's a pretty tough pool overall. So it's going to be kind of, I guess, like a kind of a tough call to say who's going to come out top, you know, kind of second and third in that. I mean, we'll get into that. I mean, before we do, I just want to talk about the players itself. So just in terms of, I guess, the ones to watch player, I'd say just you can name. We'll just say one. We'll just say one player that you kind of got your. I know it's tricky. There's so many players we can mention here, but we got to keep it down to one. So if there's one player from your perspective, you would say from Pool A, which kind of you got your eye on, who would that be?
Of course, a few Samoans come to mind straight away. Definitely after that Oceania Sevens. But I think for South Africa, someone who's really going to be key is Selvin Davids, because he's such an important part of what they were able to do over that streak of winning games back to back to back. It was the second longest winning streak in history in the sevens. And I believe that he's going to be one of the bits of glue that hold that team together throughout not just this competition, not just this league, but also the Olympics that are just around the corner. So, yeah, Selvin Davids I would go with as that key player. Of course, New Zealand, you could pick probably about 5 of their players. Samoa the same. Canada, a little bit harder to pick a key player, but of course they will have a few. I know they've got a man with a brilliant mullet who will be looking to once again prove himself this year. But, yeah, I'll go Selvin Davids. It's the player
That's a good pick. I mean, he's actually a very solid player overall whenever he plays. So, no, I love the section there. Again, I mean, I was personally going with South Africa because I thought you were going to go with one of the Samoa or New Zealand. So, I mean, I had my mind spectrum. That was kind of the player I was looking at because I'm just very fascinated to see kind of what he does because, he was out for a long time. So it's going to be very fascinating to see kind of what he kind of brings towards this Springbok Sevens side. Because, again, let's be honest, I mean, last year they did not perform to the level of what we kind of expect from the Springboks. So, hopefully the squad they've selected this time can, there's a bit more experience in that. And he's one of those key players. So I just think that he can add that kind of just experience really overall and just kind of allow the other players to just kind of understand and just kind of get it done at the end of the day. And again, South Africa have a very good record when it comes to Dubai. So it's one of those where there's a bit of maybe a bit of a confidence boost there. I mean, they know it's kind of like, they've won there a few times in the past few years. So I think that would be in their mindset as well, that they can kind of get the job done once more. But hey, I mean, this is a whole new seven, so I mean, anything can happen. But I guess we'll move on then towards Pool B. Again, with Pool B, just to remind you again, it's Argentina, Australia, Ireland, and Spain. In terms of my perspective of this group, I just think it's a really, I think if you look at all 3 groups, I wouldn't be surprised if people said this was like what would be seen as the weakest. But I actually think this is one of the hardest groups, actually, when you look at it. Because you have to remember that Argentina are just insane when it comes to sevens. They're so underrated, I think, when it comes to sevens. I think a lot of people downplay how good they are. And again, you have Australia, who, again, they won like the sevens. What was it? Was it the last year's one or the year before? They won the whole series. I think it was the year before. I think it was. Yeah, the year before. But again, they're just a great side. And again, there's a player in mind we'll definitely talk about in that cap. And now who's kind of joined that side. But again, Ireland, always a very decent side at the end of the day. Always kind of an underdog, really, I'd say. Really, they're kind of the embodiment of, I'd say, of an underdog. Because you just don't know when they're going to kind of get that win. Or just kind of, I guess sometimes, they're not in the, I guess, right frame of mind, but other times they could go at you. But again, you also have the likes of Spain, who occasionally get those shock wins, and I've seen them many times. So they've been in the box a few times in the past few years. But I know that they obviously can come up with that script once more, and they have a lot of good players there actually. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that group. But yeah, what's your perspective?
I think Argentina are definitely a side that people are looking out for, definitely with the Olympics just around the corner, of course. Exactly, yeah. Last time they were able to get themselves that bronze medal, which was absolutely massive for them, up against a South African side. I believe they have 5 players on the field in that game, and they still managed to win it. But Ireland, they still have that record up against New Zealand where they haven't been able to beat them yet, and I feel like this year, they've got such a good group of players and somehow always just have that little hurdle that they can't quite get over. And I'll be honest, I think at some stage this year we are going to see the Irish beat the New Zealand Sevens. It's just whether or not it's the first week or whether it's a little bit later on down the line. Perhaps a pool stage match would be, well, it probably doesn't do it justice if they win it in a pool stage match. I'm sure they want it to be in one of the bigger games, but Australia looking strong with their squad. Spain, the underdogs, like you said, but always know how to cause an upset when it matters most. Yeah, overall a good group, and I feel like nothing is for certain in terms of the matchups. We could see Spain beat Argentina. We could see Ireland beat Australia. We could see Spain beat Australia. There could be a 50-point win to Argentina in
Exactly.
this group. It's a very unpredictable one, but I think that's what adds a lot of excitement into Pool B of Dubai.
Mhm. No, I agree. I agree. If I had to say in terms of like the players to kind of watch out for, the one that kind of has my eye, I'd say in terms of this group is actually Terry Kennedy, because he's actually coming back for the Irish side, and he was, previously he got World kind of Player of the Year in terms of the sevens, and he's someone who I just think is, when I watched him, I think it was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, where he won it, and he was just incredible. Like that was the year kind of Ireland kind of they definitely went a level above, and he was a really a key part of the reason why they did that. And again, there was some games. For me, the games I always loved was actually Ireland versus Australia, because they played a few times in that year. And again, Australia obviously went on to win, but they were so competitive in all of those games. But again, Terry Kennedy he's just so electric. He's pretty quick. Yeah, so Terry Kennedy is the guy that kind of has my eye out for. Again, he's just someone that I'm going to really fascinated to see what he can do. But overall, just great talents. Well, what about yourself?
He's an interesting one, isn't he? Because he went to Australia to play rugby union, didn't he? In one of the kind of lower level competitions, and no one's heard about him since. Not that I know of, anyway. Like, I don't know if he's been going good. Don't know if he's been going bad, but definitely a massive player to have back for Ireland in the sevens just before the Olympics. For me, I'm looking at that Argentine side. And I know that even though I haven't seen what their squad looks like as of yet, whether they've got one of these three names, if they only have one of them, they're going to do well. Hermain Schultz, Luciano Gonzalez, Marcos Maneta. They've got to have one of them. That's why I've said the three just in case. But yeah, definitely three guys that can turn a group around and also just add that electric X factor that they need to get out of that group. Now, we don't quite know how some of the matches are going to match up when it comes to the quarterfinals because of that whole third place playing such and such, and we don't know how the rankings are sitting, but I see Argentina making it to the quarters, and I see them being, once again, a real threat to anyone that they go up against.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you there. I guess in terms of the other kind of key thing we have to talk about within this group is, I mentioned it before, with Australia, we have a captain in Union, but now joining the sevens, which is Michael Hooper now joining the sevens for the Australian team. What's your take on that? Because again, we've followed rugby union this whole time. It's kind of cool to see him now in the sevens uniform. So what's your kind of take on that?
It's a weird one for me. I feel like I've been very split in terms of whether I like it or don't like it, because I like it because they're giving the best players the opportunity at the Olympics, but I also feel bad, and I know rugby's not one of those ones that you can't feel bad for the guy that misses out, but the guy who's been on the sevens circuit for like 3 years, busting his balls trying to get to that Olympics just to be told, sorry mate, Michael's decided he wants to have a bit of a crack. It's going to be the same with France with Antoine Dupont. They're going to go, oi. Well, they're not going to be saying we to him though, are they? They're going to be saying bye, because he's going to have to move aside so that Dupont can get the crack at all the glory. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, someone made the point clear to me a little while ago. They were like, it's not really one of those ones that you don't get handouts. You got to earn your spot. And yes, they may have already earned it, the player who was there. But when you got that international name, when you've got the caliber of ability of some of these big guys, you are going to get added in the opportunities that do arise. And yeah, Michael Hooper, in terms of his breakdown work, I'm curious to see how that translates to sevens. Because, of course, we haven't really seen him in action too much in recent times. We didn't get to see him at the World Cup for the Wallabies. We saw him talking more in the commentary box than we saw him out there on the park. So is he going to be able to keep up with that pace of sevens? And the bigger question, how long is it going to take to adapt to that sevens style? Because it can't be easy. A lot of people from Union have said sevens is one of the hardest things you'll do in terms of fitness for your career. Michael Hooper, near the end of his, does he still have the gas tank?
It's a tough one, because with Michael Hooper, again, he kind of reminds me of with rugby, anyone can play, but there's a lot of big man in the sport, particularly in sevens, and he's someone where I'm curious, because I'm not even sure they've actually named what position he's going to play kind of in the team, also when he gets the opportunity. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of what he can do, because would he be? I don't know what he would be in the sevens. I guess he maybe be one of the I don't know, but look, at the end of the day, I think he's someone who definitely has the fitness ability. He's always had that actually in him. I actually don't have a doubt about that. It's really just more about, like you said, adapting towards from Union to Sevens. That's the big thing in terms of like, I guess like the change of game. I guess like the change of understanding what's good to do, not to do, or because there's a lot, like you said, like the breakdown is probably the best example of it actually. Where like what can you do in the breakdown? Because obviously it's slightly different compared to what you have in Union. So it's gonna be fascinating to see what he can do. Because again, he's probably one of the best in Union, but would that translate towards the Sevens? We don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, no matter what, it's always good to have someone like him, and I guess a notable name that people will be kind of excited to watch in that sense. I mean, I know I am. If I do stay in Hong Kong, I'm going to definitely have the opportunity to see him in Hong Kong. So that'll be kind of awesome. But again, we'll move on away from from this group onto the final group, which is now Pool C. And again, there is what am I doing here? Okay, here we go. We're on Fiji, France, Great Britain, and the United States. So yeah, this is like, I mean, yeah, I'm I don't know who's actually going to get out of this group. This is one where if I had to make, this is probably the hardest group. I'd say if I had to be completely honest, out of looking at all three of these groups, I'd say this is the one that kind of catches my eye the most. I'd say just because it's going to be really tough for the one team that doesn't get through. I'd say this. Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to go to you first. What's your kind of take on this one in terms of who you think will make it out, but also just which teams you're kind of looking out for in this one?
I think any of these sides have the ability of making it. But the thing is, they don't just have the ability of making it in the top three. They have the ability of being in that top two. Fiji, I felt they did pretty well in the Oceania Sevens. Didn't really do too much wrong. Of course, they did get defeated by New Zealand, but up till that point, we're doing extremely well, being undefeated. It's a tricky one for the Fijians because so many people, when they see Fiji's name in a competition, just expect them to win the whole thing. And this is one of those ones that normally it takes a little bit more time for the Fijians to find their stride, to warm into the competition. They don't really get that in this shortened format. You have to be on your A game from the first whistle. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Fiji can do. Their squad, once again, is dangerous. When you look at some of the informed players from the Oceania Sevens, you have to worry for some of those opposition. Definitely if they can find their space. France, I think they're a little bit of a not really dark horse, but a team that don't get as much credit as they should because of some of the big upsets that they've caused over the last year or two, but I can see them definitely doing well in this competition. Great Britain and USA, for me, are the two that are fighting for that third place spot because I honestly feel that France and Fiji should take 1 and 2, but as we've learnt, Sevens is unpredictable. Anything can happen, and things can go wrong is the best way of describing it.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. And I do agree with you. I mean, Fiji is definitely. I mean, I think they're definitely seen as the favorite in this group. But I do agree with you that France is really seen as like kind of like dark horse in the whale. I think they were the team that kind of not caught me by surprise, but just I was really just impressed by them. I think throughout last season, just because they, like you said, they got a lot of big kind of wins in there, and they actually went into a few finals themselves. So they had they've actually done pretty well to kind of make a name for themselves last year, and now they can kind of hopefully take that form, be a bit more consistent with it. Obviously, with Olympics on the way, and they're hosting it, it's a pretty big year for them. So they have to kind of keep that intact. And like we mentioned before, there's obviously DuPont going to join them. And again, I'm not sure, it hasn't been announced yet, but I've heard there's more players other than DuPont that haven't been named yet. But I think there's I think I saw Damien Ponot was a name that was mentioned. There was you have to remember me here. I think
Belbari was also mentioned, wasn't
Belbari, that's it.
The young
and I think there was Mackel, was it Mackel?
There was another
one more
back,
name,
wasn't there?
No, there's a forward. There's a forward. I think I'm right. It's
as well. Siku Machalu, is it?
Yeah, I think it's him. Maybe I saw his name, but again, it's that those names haven't been confirmed. All we know for sure is that DuPont is going to come. But again, just to be clear, that DuPont and Michael Hooper will only join in January, so it won't be immediately, guys. Just to remind you. So again, there's a reason for that is because they have to kind of adapt towards the game first. They have to kind of get their fitness up in a way, and we've already seen against DuPont. Has it been announced like where he's not going to be in the Six Nations? I mean, that's kind of been confirmed now in a way, but he's kind of said that if he's going to take on this sevens thing, he's not going to be competing in the Six Nations because he has to kind of play in the sevens tournaments to kind of get grip to it. So it's understandable. So it's good to see obviously him taking it seriously. Same with Hooper already, obviously in training that I see through pictures online. But overall, just a really good group. I guess in terms of your ones watch player for this one, who has your eye out for this one?
I got a few Fijians, of course, on the list. Torio Wailawa, first of all, he was absolutely brilliant throughout the Oceania Sevens, so I wouldn't be surprised if he once again lights it on fire. In Dubai, Josefa Talatoro, just with his build, the pace down the wing, he is going to be dangerous. And to be honest, I could probably list about 4 more Fijians, but it's got to be other teams, got to be other players for
the whole squad.
I could name the whole squad. To be fair, they've got some very good names on that list.
They're all good.
My Samoa, we hardly got to see him throughout the Oceania Sevens, and he's normally one who does extremely well. Kimaneli Rasaku, Filippo Bukayaro. It just goes on. The Fijians, they'll do well. I hope they do well anyway.
Yeah.
With the predictions the same? Wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I just like you said, there's actually a lot that, like, for me personally, I'm actually the opposite to you, actually, in a way, but where I actually don't know as many players, I'd say, from Fiji. I guess Samoa, I know a few because I know a lot of them, and New Zealand. But I'd say Fiji's the one team I haven't actually kind of like. I mean, I all know they're good, but there isn't one that kind of has caught my eye in a way. So as the season goes by, obviously kind of keep a tabs on them. Because they're always going to be impressive. So I'll list one for the future, guys. But I think for now, I got to go close to my heart here with the U.S. And I mean, I got to back my boys. I guess there's a few in this I wanted to say. Hughes, I could say. Maybe Perry Baker. Oh, you know what, Baker. I just want to say Baker. It's maybe the obvious one, but I just got to say Perry just because he's just someone who, I mean, everyone wants to see him play. And again, he's always we saw a bit of it last year where he wasn't actually getting as many minutes as you'd expect. But again, he's kind of aging, so it's understandable that they're what's the word? They're kind of restricting his minutes in a way. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do that throughout this year again, because again, I guess the ambition obviously for the United States as well is do well in the Olympics, and they want to make sure that everyone's fully healthy. But again, he's one player that can definitely help on that front. Again, he has a ton of experience, and he's just a try-scoring machine at the end of the day. I do forget if he's. This is where you have to correct me here or not, but is he? I think he's in the top 5 at least of top try scorers in history, right? In terms of sevens. I could be wrong with that stat, but I know he's. I don't think he's first, but I think he's maybe in the top 5. I think that's what I can look it up now, but I just want to make sure I wasn't wrong in saying that. Let me just see. HSBC.
I've leaned way off. I'm a bit rusty.
No, it's all good.
Podcasting. I went off the screen.
Try scores.
They've changed their website. They're very annoying.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm not going through the website. I'm going through just I know it's bad, but I'm just gonna go through Wikipedia in a way because at least they'll have something on it. Sevens player awards. Okay, well that's player awards. It's not really contracts. Sevens most tries. Yeah, so that's okay. So here we go. So so this is the guy I think I was always going to say, Dan Norton, of course, because for the English, he's always done pretty well for them. So that's not really surprising. Let's see anyone else. So again, I'm not sure when this article came out, so it's not really helpful. I mean, see, this came out in 2019, so it's not really a good. Yeah, that's not really good.
They used to have a really good website.
Again, they've completely changed the website, guys. But this is why I'm obviously kind of scrambling here, trying to find this just for you guys. But I guess I should put just all time. Maybe that will help. All time. Oh, okay. Let's see. Maybe this will help. Oh, actually, no. Rugby 7. Oh, okay. This is the one I need. Go there. Because that's going to be it. Wikipedia at least will have it in a weird way. This men's tournament, whatever it is. Okay, so Dan Norton, of course. So Collins, the Kenyan star. Oh, okay, So yeah, it says here Perry Baker is third on the list. So there you go.
You go.
Yeah, it's Mickelson. Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, that makes. And this is a kind of an understandable list, but yeah, Dan Holden with 358 tries. Jeez, that's ridiculous, and it's kind of crazy because we're not going to see him anymore. Because again, he did retire. What was it? Well, wait, I think it was like last year. But anyway, still, it just feels a bit weird that we're not going to have a battle between him and Perry Baker again. But anyway, I guess besides that, just because we kind of covered all the groups now, kind of what's your take, I guess, on well, first of all, who do you think is going to win? If there's someone you to kind of pick out to win this one, who would you say? Because again, we can give our own predictions if you want to do it here. We can kind of say who we think is going to come first, second, and third. Do you want to do that right now?
We could do. I'm just picking. I feel like my brain at the moment, after the rant that I went on in terms of all the great players, like if I don't put Fiji in the top 3, people will get angry. But I also think New Zealand will be right up there in terms of the finish. And then I feel like South Africa have also got a decent chance, but it depends on how they match up.
I think South Africa, they're a wild card. They're really a wild card, I would say, at the moment. Because they're one team you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, they're obviously a great team, but they didn't have the best of seasons last year. So you don't really know how to kind of pick out if they're going to do well or not. But I mean, I can go first here if you want. Well, I can go first in each one. So at least you can see, I guess, what I've done, chosen that way. But okay, so I'll start. So for Pool A, when it comes towards that, I am going to put New Zealand to win that group. I am actually then going to go with Samoa as second, and then I'm going the Box third, and then I'm going to go with Canada fourth. That's the order that I've gone with. Again, I'll explain like kind of my order. I'll explain what I think after I name all the groups. I guess I'll go with Pool B is the tough one. Because I think Ireland, I think Ireland's so good. No, Australia's great. Argentina's great. Oh, this is a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna say Argentina win it. I think that's not really a hard one to say, but I think it's between Australia, Ireland. Eesh. You know what? I'm gonna say the Irish. I'm gonna say the Irish come second, and then I'm gonna say Australia third, and then I'm gonna say Spain fourth. And then for Pool C, I'm going to go Fiji first. I'm going to back the U.S. I'm going to back them. So I'm going to go USA second. Maybe that's a bold one there, but I'm going to go them second. France third. And I'm going to go Great Britain fourth. And then I guess just to clarify, the two teams I think that will qualify to next round, I'm going to say will be South Africa. And then I'm going to say... there's Australia and there's who did I say? I said Australia and France.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Australia go through. Okay. So there you go.
So unlike the Rugby Union World Cup.
Exactly. We'll see. We'll see if they can do it or not.
Okay, so for myself, Pool A, I am saying New Zealand 1, South Africa 2, Samoa 3. Okay. I think that Samoa, as good as they've been, the thing that's let them down is their discipline. And I feel like South Africa is one of those sides that really capitalise on the quick tap, the kicking behind, everything along those lines. So I am going to say that Samoa finished third in that group, but they do still qualify for the next round in the quarterfinals. For Pool B, I am going with Argentina and... yeah, I see what you mean. When you get to that stage, you just kind of look at it, don't you?
I personally like because I've always think back to the results of Ireland and Australia. It's actually like really, it's not like one way. It's like it's really 50-50 in terms of who to what I can recall. So it's a tough choice that.
I'm going to go Australia too because they've played a little bit more rugby recently.
Okay.
Because they were a part of that Oceania 7. So I'll put Ireland 3, and I will also say that they actually qualify for the quarterfinals.
Oh, so you're kind of agreeing with me that you think that both. Okay, interesting. So what's your take on them Pool C?
Pool C, I'm saying France 1, Fiji 2. So I'm going with that same logic of I believe that France versus Fiji in the head-to-head is going to go the way of France. Then Fiji are going to go further than France in the overall competition.
I like it.
Because it normally takes one loss for Fiji to really fire up. in a sevens leg, doesn't it? And as long as they
Yes.
have a loss that doesn't cost them, such as a quarterfinal or a semi-final, they're good. They just go all the way and just get that gold.
Yep, I've seen it a lot of times, so I can't deny that for sure. But yeah, okay, that's cool. So then, obviously, who finished then third and fourth then for that group for you?
Well, you've picked USA to finish second, haven't you?
Yeah,
So I feel like I would be pretty harsh to put them in fourth. So I'm
Mate,
going
you
to
can do what you want.
I'm going to give them three. I'm going to give them three. They have the good enough players to get the job done, I think. There you go. GB, unfortunately, last time we saw them in action, they did seem a little bit lost in terms of what they wanted to achieve on the Seven Circuit. They'll take a bit of adapting, of course, because at the Olympics, they are going to be playing as the Great British side rather than all their individual nations. So, yeah, we'll go GB4, but they will improve as the Sevens competition goes on.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy to think that like they've done. I mean, like it's actually good. I mean, maybe this is a bold take to say, but I actually liked it when they had the individual teams because I thought they were actually pretty good. But you know, Great Britain, why not? Why not? But yeah, no, I guess we'll move on then towards just kind of like our take on the overall competition because there's not really much else we can kind of talk about the moment, but we'll kind of give you guys our take in just terms of who we think could just win the whole thing. If I think it's way too early to say who'll win the Olympics. I think that's kind of a one we can talk about in the future. We'll just talk about now, just about the whole series itself. But yeah, just kind of what's your take on that? Who do you think will win?
So we saying Dubai results or the whole series result?
I'm saying Dubai.
Dubai Sevens.
We can do Dubai. No, I'm only saying Dubai. But if you want, we can do a whole. We can do a whole thing if you want.
Too soon. Sevens too unpredictable.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, just do Dubai. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. So we're going to go top three, okay? I'm going to say New Zealand versus Fiji final. Fiji win it. They get redemption from the Oceania Sevens. And I'm going to say South Africa finish third. I don't know how. I don't even know if those sides can actually match up in those matches. But
yeah, exactly.
In the top three.
We're just going off the tongue here. Well,
not even considering groups. Just go for it. Who are your top three sides?
Well, see, I actually think South Africa can actually make the final. That may be a bold call, but I actually don't think they'll win it. I think they'll get to the final, but I don't think they'll win it. I think it's really going to come down towards, I would say, Argentina or Fiji is kind of the team I have in mind. I actually think it's going to be Argentina. So I'm going to say an Argentina-South Africa final, but I think Argentina wins it. And third place, I'm going to go with, I'll say New Zealand. I'm going to say New Zealand finishes third. They'll beat Fiji, but in that game. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. But yeah, no, we'll see what happens. We may be completely wrong here, but hey, at the end of the day, because we haven't even looked at the figure, so this is we're just going off the tongue here. But hey, yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, besides that, I mean, that's kind of it really with this episode, guys. This, again, obviously, let us know in the comments what you think. Just in terms of who you think kind of will win, I guess, each group, but also let us know who you think will win the overall event in Dubai, because hey, it's the start of the Sevens, so it's going to be action-packed, of course. But again, besides that, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to obviously check out our respective channels. We'll leave a link in the description, of course. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Wasn't that cool, Tim?
Beautiful. We'll keep that in.